Senator Creighton, it's been great working with you on another education bill here in the Texas State Senate. And I'm not going to be redundant, but what I want to do is to talk just a bit about the ABC allotment again. Now, I want to talk to you about all of the allotments. Yes, the $55 allotment that we had in the bill, but the new allotments, the restructuring of our finance system, had we not placed those new allotments in this particular bill, how would that money have flowed?
How would the money flow?
Yeah, would it have gone into the basic allotment?
Yes, great question. No, as for the allotments that we've been talking about, which you mentioned the ABC allotment, and we're talking with that allotment about assistance with basic costs,
right,
for the district, and that would be examples of transportation, health insurance, TRS contributions, utilities, hiring retired teachers. Those types of costs, the districts they haven't found with the prior restructuring of the budget that they had a comfort zone with being able to handle those specific needs. So we have created an allotment for those specific needs, and we've placed $1.2 billion of dedicated funding just in that allotment alone, a tremendous amount of dollars, and that represents $106 per student. Per student. And so just as we see allotments and how they work prior to this bill, based on a certain amount of dollars for students. For instance, we've passed curriculum legislation in the past where there was a $40 allotment per student and $20 for separate for printing.
All right, now hold your point there for 1 second.
That's right.
As it relates to how money flows, what's the difference from ADA and the money flowing per student? Can you explain that? Average daily attendance and the money flowing per student.
So traditionally, you and I have talked a lot about average daily attendance and how the dollars flow, correct? And we've had a lot of discussions on whether or not traditional public schools should make a change to enrollment-based funding.
Exactly.
We have not made that change with the basic allotment, but with the new allotment that we're talking about on fixed cost, we have made that change to enrollment-based funding.
And that ends up being per student, correct?
Per student enrolled, correct.
What about the other allotments? Is it flowing, and I don't know whether it's flowing per student or ADA?
The staff salary allotment is still based on average daily attendance.
Okay, all right. Let's talk about safety. What do we do as it relates to, school districts had been complaining about not having adequate resources in order to deal with issues concerning student safety. What do we do in this particular bill concerning that?
Your question was about safety and what do we do in the legislation related to safety. We have over $400 million dedicated for safety to flow to the districts. So in particular, if prior legislation that we passed requiring officers on campus have not quite compensated for the amount it would take for those officers to be employed, this legislation and the safety money and the safety dollars that would travel would further assist with making sure that an officer is able to be on each and every campus, and that if there was a burden to the district when we first passed that policy, this would be an offset to those burdens to make sure those goals could be accomplished to keep our campuses safe.
Work with me on this. On the second page of the amendment, item 40, Look at item 40. What does that mean when it says modified school safety allotment funding?
Well, we have for safety, we have $33,500 dedicated per campus, and
Sorry, how much is that? How much is that again?
$33,500 dedicated, and a $20 allotment based on average daily attendance.
Is that an increase from where we are right now per campus and per student?
That is an increase.
And so that gives additional resources to schools in order to deal with safety-related issues on our campuses, correct?
It absolutely does, and the leaders on this floor that have worked in making sure that our schools are safer, Senator Nichols, Chairwoman Huffman, many of the leaders on this floor that have worked to make our schools safe, including yourself, this would be an increase from before on the dollars that are flowing to our schools to make sure our campuses are safe.
I'm getting ready to sit down because we've talked this for about the last couple of hours. I know you need to get some, I guess you could say, rest your voice. But when we begin to look at the restructuring that's being done, everything is not flowing through the basic allotment anymore. We have different allotments specified for specific purposes. And a question that I've asked you before is, how do we make certain that monies that we have put aside for teacher incentive allotments, for retention allotments, for ABC, et cetera, how do we make certain that that money goes to where it's supposed to go?
So the allotments are very prescriptive in how they're used, as Senator Miles and I had an exchange and discussed on exactly who those particular pay raise dollars can flow through, that as those dollars arrive on a per student allotment basis through their CFOs for those districts, and as the C-suite, the superintendent and the CFO in that office works together to make sure that they're complying with the language in this legislation in HB2.
Every allotment that we have, prescriptive allotment that we have, will be monitored by TEA to make certain that the money is going to where it's supposed to go. Is that correct?
Yeah, the districts have third-party audits required for the districts annually, and there is a TEA component that's tied together with review as well.
I tell you what, thank you very much for this work. I look forward to giving a green card and co-sponsoring this with you. And I look forward to continuously working with you on education initiatives. Thank you.
Senator West, your work on the Education Committee K through 16 and your work through your entire career in the education space has left an incredible footprint, and I appreciate our working relationship and working constantly to try to make these bills better. Thank you, sir.